Hey everyone, not the faces you're used to, I know. My name is Jim. I am normally the other side of the camera, but given the current circumstances, like many of you, I've got a member of my family who is in the high risk group. So I'm at home for 12 weeks, which means that me and Rob and Martin and the guys at the Malt Miller can't get together to play with all the fun kit that we normally do and do some videos on. What has happened is Martin, believe it or not, has had a bright idea. He has shipped me to my home some of the Mad Millie food kits to keep me occupied with my family and have a go at making some of these kits. And I said I'd film them, put them together so that you can all have a look, maybe get some inspiration and have a go at making some of these yourself. We've got the 15-minute sourdough kit, which is the one we're going to start with. We've also got the kombucha kit, which really looking forward to. If you haven't tried that before, then thoroughly recommend that you try some. And then we've got the ginger beer kit as well. This is a really cool kit because you can actually make alcoholic or non-alcoholic ginger beer with this one. So really looking forward to getting hands on with all three of these. Tonight, we're going to start with the sourdough kit. Okay, so let's take a look at what comes in the box. Now, this kit will allow you to make up to 6 loaves of tasty sourdough bread. Now the key to it is the sourdough culture, which we'll talk about in a minute, but if you want to, you can actually purchase additional packets of the sourdough culture that comes in the box. We've got them on our website alongside this and all of the other kind of tasty food projects that you can get through the Malt Miller's website, so check them all out. Anyway, inside the box we've got instruction manual, very handy for those of you that like to read them, and then we've got a bag of artisan salt that they provide for you to use. You've got a really nice heavyweight silicone edged dough scraper, which is fantastic for scraping the dough out of your bowl and doing a bit of kneading work and that kind of stuff. The dough whisk, now this is a really cool bit of kit because this stops your hands getting caked in dough. For any of you that's made bread before, you'll know that that is one of the worst things, getting your hands absolutely caked in dough. So that really helps with this because it is quite a wet dough that we're going to be making. You've got a muslin cloth which you can use to cover the dough while it's fermenting, and a couple of other different uses you've got for that. And then here, this is the king within the box, should I say. So this is where the magic's going to happen from. This is our sourdough culture. So it's a dried sourdough culture, and there's 3 sachets in here. Each sachet is good to make 2 loaves, okay? So tonight we're going to start the process for making 2 loaves of tasty sourdough for me and my family to enjoy. So that's what's in the box. Okay, so a few other bits and pieces you're going to need to make this sourdough. First of all, you need a big mixing bowl, some flour. Now, I'll come on to quantities and stuff in a little bit when we start mixing it, but you're going to need around 400 grams of flour per loaf that you're going to make. You're going to need a small bowl to weigh out some salt and that kind of stuff. Set of digital scales, a either glass, cast iron or earthenware pot that is oven proof that has a lid, because that's what we're actually going to cook our sourdough in the oven, and then a measuring jug. Okay, so let's have a little talk about our ingredients then. So there's in the recipe book that you get with the kit, there's actually 4 or 5 different recipes you can make. Today we're just making the original sourdough set of instructions that are in there. So for that, to make 1 loaf, you need 384 grams of strong white bread flour. Now, we're actually going to be making 2 loaves tonight, so I've doubled the quantity here because, as I said earlier, these sachets will be good for 2 loaves, which is really, really cool. So you're going to get 2 700-gram loaves of sourdough out of each sachet within this kit. So, like I said, I've doubled the flour recipe here. Now, the first part of the instructions is really easy. We've got our flour, we've got our salt, which again, I've doubled the quantities for the recipe, which is 1.5 teaspoons of salt per loaf. So there's nearly 3 teaspoons of salt in there. We've got our sourdough yeast, which we're going to add in as well. And then we're just going to give that a very quick mix together using our dough whisk, which is super nice to use. And then we need to add our water. Now, this water is at 30 degrees C, and per loaf you add 375 millilitres of water. So I've doubled it. There's 750 ml in here. The instructions say to make a well in the middle. Pour our water in. And then all we're going to do is, with our dough whisk, just bring this together, okay? Now, one of the really cool things about this is a no knead recipe. So we are not going to be getting our dough out, kneading it, getting it all over our hands, making a mess, all that kind of stuff. So this recipe is a no knead recipe. Also, once we've pulled all this together, all we're going to be doing is leaving it, and we're going to leave it overnight and come back to it tomorrow. And that's when the magic happens. That's when the yeast is going to start working its way through the dough, doing what yeast loves to do, eating sugars, churning out CO2 and developing flavour. And then tomorrow we will come back to this and we will bake it. All that remains now is for us to cover it and leave it for 20 hours. Now, in the recipe kit, it does say that you can use the muslin cloth that comes along with the kit. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to cover it in cling film, and the main reason for that is because I've gone for a double size batch, and I've got a feeling this is going to really grow. So if I put a muslin cloth, I might end up with a very sticky muslin cloth. And just loosely cover it. We don't want it to be really tight, because we're going to want some of that gas to escape as the dough ferments. That is that for now. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, when we should have a nice well risen sourdough that's ready to go in the oven. Hey, me back again. 20 hours after we originally mixed our dough up. As you can see, I've got some helpers with me today. This is Sophie, this is Mari. Say hello.
Hi.
And they're going to be helping out with the next phase of what we're going to be doing today. So as predicted, the dough has really risen up. It's super bubbly. It's looks like something's alive in there, which is exactly what we wanted to see. So what we've got to do now is actually turn this out onto a floured surface and start dividing it up, because as I said, we've got 2 loaves worth in here, so we're going to divide it into 2, and then we're going to start to form our shape from the bread. So I'm going to need a couple of bits. Mari, can you pass me the dough scraper, please? Awesome, thank you very much. Sophie, I'm going to need some flour. If you can pass me over that, that'd be really helpful. So what we're going to need to do is really flour the surface that we're going to be working on, because as we said, this is super sticky, this dough. So let's have a look, see how this comes out. Oh, look at that. Whoa, yeah. It's like an alien or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is exactly what we wanted to see, and as predicted, the smell coming off of this is amazing. Right, gonna need more flour, please, Sophie.
Yeah.
Right, can you just sprinkle some of the flour over the top of the dough for me, please? Yeah, all over. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just keep sort of bringing this in from the outside to the middle, adding more flour as we need it, just to stop it getting really sticky. And then what we're going to do is divide this up into 2 lots, put one back in the bowl to deal with later, and then the other we're going to put into something that is going to give it the shape and space to do a little second rise, which is going to take an hour or 2 before it goes in the oven. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours now since we divvied up our dough and put it in for its second prove. My oven's on, set to 230 degrees C. I have added the cast iron cooking pan that we're going to be using today already into the oven to preheat. Now that's an important step as well, because what we want to happen is when the dough hits the hot surface of the pan, that's going to initially give it a boost and start the cooking process. So let's take a little look inside and see what we've got in here. So this is exactly what we should be looking for, okay? So you can see we've got almost like a nice wobble to it. If you touch it, it's really nice and soft and springy. You can definitely see that second fermentation, that second proving has really taken place and the dough's risen back up again. So the next step for us is to get the hot pan out of the oven and add this to it. All right, let's see how we get on. Okay, so let's get our hot pan out of the oven, and we're going to just take the lid off, put that over there. Now the first thing we need to do, just to aid with that whole non-stick thing and make sure the dough doesn't stick, we're going to stick some flour into the bottom of the pan, okay? Not too much, but enough at the same time. And then just get our hands a little bit floury, and then this is where we see if we can get our dough in one go, which we did. Awesome. Okay, now just going to give that a light dusting of flour over the top. We're going to pop the lid on. We're going to pop this in the oven for 15 minutes with the lid on, and then we're going to take the lid off for the last 15 minutes. So here we go. Now we need to whip the lid off, and then, oh, that's looking good. Pop that back in for another 15 minutes to let the crust really firm up on it. Okay, so our cooking time's up. Let's get this out, see what we've got. Oh, there we go, look at that. If you can see just how nice and golden brown that is, well risen, and I can absolutely say for certain that it smells fantastic. Now, what we do need to do is get it out of here. So we should be able to just turn it out, and that's perfect. Pop it on a wire rack to cool, and about an hour's time, should be able to slice it up and try a piece. Okay, so we've done it. We've baked our first sourdough loaf using the Mad Millie 15-minute sourdough kit. It's pretty easy, wasn't it, kids? Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't you reckon? There's nothing else for it but to slice this open and have a little taste. So let's give it a go.
That sounded like someone cutting ice.
I know, it's nice and crunchy, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So you should be able to see just how good the crumb structure in that is. It's nice and soft and fluffy, and nice and still a little bit warm as well. So let's just chop that up into some chunks. Okay, Mari, here you go. A little bit for you to try.
Thank you.
Get your jaws around that, see what you think. Take a little bite, and then I want to hear what you think of our bread. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Thoughts, Mari?
I liked it better than it smelled.
Oh, so you think it tastes nicer than it smelled?
Uh-huh.
Sophie, what do you think?
I think it's really, really nice.
It is yummy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Hopefully this has given you a bit of inspiration to have a go at making one of these kits yourself. You can find this kit along with all of our other food kits on our food section on the Malt Miller website. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified when we've got new videos coming up. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and check out our website. Thanks very much. See ya.